In the last video, we created our color picker. In this video, we will create the text container and text, and then create some functionality so that when we hover the mouse over a cell in the color picker table, the text will change to whatever color is in the table cell we are hovering over. So let's go to the code, and in the HTML below the table, let's create a div with an ID text container. And inside the div, let's put an h1 tag with an ID of creative clerk. Now let's go to the CSS and add some styles. Let's give the body a background color of black or hashtag 000. So let's save and refresh, and here we go. Now this course is not about CSS, it's about JQuery. So you can use any colors you want. I'm going to use black because I always like a black background. Anyway, let's go back to the CSS and continue with our styles. So I'm going to give the text container a position of absolute, top 20%, left of 50%. I want it to be in the center of the page, but the width is going to be 60%. The height, 40%. I'm going to give it a border, a red border so I can see it. Now the text I'm going to make white and a font size of 4EM and a font family of Georgia. We will change all these. Now let's save and refresh. Now I have two problems. First, I cannot see the text. I thought I made it white. And second is this text container, the red border, is not centered in the middle of the page like I wanted it to be. So let's go back to the CSS and see what's wrong. It looks like everything's alright in the CSS. Let's check the HTML. And here's my problem. I spelled creative clerk wrong. I need to put the I inside. Okay. So now we should be able to see it. And we do. So now we need to center the text within the container and center the container, the red box, within the page. So let's go back to the CSS and let's give the text alignment of center. Now to center the text container, we'll transform and then translate it by x of minus 50%. Save it and then refresh. And now everything is centered just like we wanted it. Now let's create some functionality so that when we hover over the color picker, we change the color of our text. So let's go back to the code, and in the JavaScript, let's give the table cells, the TD tags, an ID equal to the color in their array. So let's type ID equals, and inside single quotes, we will add double quotes and then concatenate with double plus signs, and then we add the variable color. Now, this will give each TD tag that begins a row an ID equal to its color, but we need to do this for all the cells. So let's copy this and then paste it for all the table cells. Okay. So let's save and refresh and then inspect element. Now, each of our table cells has an ID equal to its color. Now, let's go back to the JavaScript and write a function that will change our text color to whatever color we are hovering over. So inside the docReady function, let's type, we're going to get the color picker, the cell within the color picker, and when we hover over this, we're going to create a function, and inside that function, we're going to declare a variable, call it color, and set it equal to this.attrid. Okay, now whenever we use the this keyword inside of a function, it points to the object of the function. So in our case, it points to this table cell within the color picker table that we are hovering over. So now when we hover over a table cell, we get the color of that table cell and put it into a variable we call color. So let's go ahead and log this color and then refresh and hover over some of the colors and look at it in the console. So we have all these colors. So we're on the right track. So let's go back to the JavaScript and get rid of this console, and in its place let's write a function saying let's get the ID creative clerk, and we'll set its CSS color to our variable color. So when we hover over a cell in the color picker table, we get the ID of that cell, which we store in a variable called color. Then we get the ID of our text ID creative clerk and set its CSS color property to our variable color. So let's save that, refresh, and see if it works. And it works. So now we are ready to move on. In the next video, we will start creating these buttons, which we will toggle open these forms that we will use to generate our CSS.